Hello, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mrs. Gallagher, and today we're going to discuss angles and parallel lines. So our objective is to identify parallel lines and the angles formed by parallel lines and transversals. So let's discuss some key vocab terms that we need to know about angles and parallel lines. A transversal is a line that intersects two other lines at different points. So if we look at the figure below, there is a line that says T right here, and this is the transversal right here. It's a line that intersects two other lines at different points. When a transversal intersects two parallel lines, corresponding angles are congruent and alternate interior angles are congruent. So we are now going to review corresponding and alternate interior angles in addition to giving some examples. Okay, so we just discussed that T is our transversal. And what's important about the transversal is it divides the two parallel lines and forms 8 angles. And the two angles we're going to discuss right now are corresponding angles and alternate interior angles. So our first angles are corresponding angles. And corresponding angles are angles that lie on the same side and position of the transversal. So what does that mean? What's an example? Let's look at angle 1 over here. If you notice angle 1, it is the top left-hand corner of line M. Now let's look at line N. What angle is the top left-hand corner of line N? Well, that would be angle 5. Therefore, angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding. And why is that important? Because corresponding angles are also congruent. Let's look at another example. We have angle 2. So angle 2 on line M is the top right-hand corner. Well, now let's look at line N. Where's the top right-hand corner? That would be angle 6. Therefore, angle 2 and angle 6 are corresponding angles. Let's look at our next set of corresponding angles. Let's look at angle 3. Now, what do we notice about angle 3? Angle 3 is the bottom left-hand corner of line M. And where do we see the bottom left-hand corner of line N? What's corresponding? That would be angle 7. Therefore, angle 3 and angle 7 are corresponding. Therefore, they are congruent to each other. Let's look at our last set of corresponding angles. Check out angle 4, bottom right-hand corner of line M. So angle 4 and angle 8, because angle 8 is the bottom right-hand corner of line N. Therefore, angle 4 and angle 8 are corresponding angles. And why is that important? Because corresponding angles are congruent. So it's important because corresponding angles are congruent. Let's discuss our next set of angles, alternate interior angles. And alternate interior angles lie within the pair of lines and on opposite sides of the transversal. So let's dissect that. What does that mean? Okay, so they lie within the pair of lines. So here we lie within. We're inside of the parallel lines. And they're opposite. So opposite sides, opposite inside angles. Therefore, our first alternate interior angles are angle 3 and angle 6. Angle 3 and angle 6 are alternate interior angles. Why is that important? Because they are congruent to each other. Our second pair of alternate interior angles are angle 5 and angle 4. Angle 5 and angle 4. And again, why is that important? Because alternate interior angles are congruent to each other. Okay, so alternate interior angles are congruent to each other and corresponding angles are congruent to each other. So now let's do some examples together. So let's look at example 1. It says, in the following diagram, M is parallel to L cut by transversal T. Find the remaining angles if the measure of angle 4 equals 96 degrees and the measure to angle 5 equals 84 degrees. All right, so let's first plug in our measurements. And I'm going to scroll this down so we can see the entire problem. So we know the measure of angle 4 is 96 degrees. So we're going to write 96 on angle 4. And we know the measure of angle 5 is equal to 84 degrees. And we want to find the remaining angles. So let's first look for angle 1. The first one they're asking for is angle 1. And where is angle 1? Angle 1's right here. So now let's think of our angle relationships. So what do we notice here? Well, we have angle 4 and angle 5. And we notice that angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding angles. And if they're corresponding, they're equal to each other. Therefore, angle 1 is equal to 84 degrees. And our reason is angle 1 and angle 5 are corresponding angles. So angle 1 and 5 are corresponding angles, therefore they're equal to each other. So angle 1 is equal to 84 degrees. So now let's look at angle 2. And what relationships do you notice about angle 2? Well, angle 2 and angle 4 are vertical angles. Therefore, if angle 4 is equal to 96 degrees, angle 2 is also equal to 96 degrees. And our reason? Angles 2 and 4 are vertical angles. So angles 2 and angle 4 are vertical angles. Let's look at angle 3. Where's angle 3 at? Well, here is angle 3. So if you notice angle 3, there's a couple relationships going on with angle 3. You could say angle 1 and 3 are vertical. You can also say angle 3 and 5 are alternate interior angles. Therefore, angle 3 is going to be equal to 84 degrees. And our reason? You only have to give one, but there's two different reasons. We're going to say because angle 3 and 5 are alternate interior angles. So angle 3 and angle 5 are alternate interior angles. But you can also say angles 1 and 3 are vertical angles. Both angles are correct. Let's now look at angle 6. And again, you want to identify relationships with other angles. So what do we notice about angle 6 and angle 2? They're corresponding. And then we have angle 6 and angle 4 are alternate interior. Therefore, angle 6 is equal to 96 degrees. Angle 6 is equal to 96 degrees. And I'm going to use the reason because angles 2 and angle 6 are corresponding angles. So angles 2 and angle 6 are corresponding angles. Therefore, it's equal to 96 degrees. You can also say angles 4 and 6 are alternate interior angles. Let's now look at angle 7, which is right here. And again, what relationships do we see with angle 7? Well, we have angle 7 and 5 are vertical angles. Therefore, they're equal. We have angle 7 and angle 3 are corresponding angles. Therefore, they're equal. Therefore, angle 7 is equal to 84 degrees. And my reason? Because angles 5 and 7 are vertical angles. So angle 5 and angle 7 are vertical angles. Again, you can also state angle 3 and angle 7 are corresponding angles. Both reasons are correct. Lastly is angle 8. And again, you want to identify your relationships with angle 8. So what do we notice about angle 8? Well, we have angle 8 and 6 are vertical. You can also say angle 8 and angle 4 are corresponding angles. Therefore, they're equal to each other. Therefore, angle 8 is equal to 96 degrees. And our reasoning? I'm going to say angles 4 and 8 are corresponding angles. So angles 4 and 8 are corresponding angles. Again, you can also say 6 and 8 are vertical angles. Before we move on to the next example, I just want to show you something how you can check your work with these problems. If you notice here, we go from 84 to 96, 84 to 96, 84 to 96, and 84 to 96. What do you notice? We notice that no two same angle measurements are next to each other. So that's how you can check your answers. Every angle next to each other is a different answer. So let's do one more example together. Okay, so in example 2, it says in the following diagram, M is parallel to N, cut by transversal T. Find the remaining angles if the measure of angle 1 equals 122 degrees. So let's plug in angle 1, which is 122 degrees. And I like to fill in my diagram, my figure, before I actually fill in the questions below. So if angle 1 is 122 degrees, what other angles equal 122 degrees? Well, angle 4. Because angle 4 is vertical to angle 1. Angle 8, because angle 8 corresponds to angle 4. And also angle 5, because angle 5 is vertical to angle 8. Angle 5 is also alternate interior to angle 4. And angle 5 is also corresponding to angle 1. Again, there's different reasons why they're congruent to each other. So how do we find the other angle here? How do we find the missing angle? How do we find angle 2? Well, what do we know about angle 1 and angle 2 here? They're supplementary. Therefore, you're going to subtract 122 from 180. So we're going to say 180 minus 122 to find the other missing angle. And 180 minus 122 equals 58. Therefore, angle 2 is equal to 58 degrees. We know that angle 6 is equal to 58 degrees because it is corresponding to angle 2. We know that angle 3 is equal to 58 degrees because it is alternate interior to angle 6. You can also say it is vertical to angle 2. And lastly, angle 7 is congruent or equal to 58 degrees because angle 7 and angle 3 are corresponding angles. All right, so now let's fill it in. We know that angle 2 is equal to 58 degrees. We know angle 3 is equal to 58 degrees. We know angle 4 is equal to 122 degrees. We know angle 5 is equal to 122 degrees. Angle 6 is equal to 58 degrees. Angle 7 is equal to 58 degrees. And angle 8 is equal to 122 degrees. I also want you to notice how you check your work here. Notice that no two same angles are next to each other. It's all a different angle. So now what I would like you to do is the U-try section. Please find all the missing angle measures and we will discuss it in class. Thank you.